Hollow Knight, a love letter. What is its story, and why do I find it so compelling? Hollow Knight development began in 2013, a small game called Hungry Knight, in which a character who looks nearly identical to the one we play as in Hollow Knight kills bugs to stave off starvation. Upon realizing they could do more with this character, William Pellin and Ari Gibson decided to launch a Kickstarter for Hollow Knight. Kickstarter is a crowdfunding website that allows projects like these to gain funding. On November 14th, 2014, Hollow Knight was revealed on Kickstarter.com. Our two starving artists asked for a modest sum of 35,000 Australian dollars. Comparatively, a game recently released, Cyberpunk 2077, took 313 million US dollars to be completed and still wasn't as good. Although only suggesting this sum, the project gained traffic, and soon 2,158 backers were able to raise 57,000 Australian dollars. With this cushion of cash, the team could expand and hired a technical director and a music composer. Remember the latter, he'll come up later. Hollow Knight was a resounding success with massive critical reception. Hollow Knight received a 9.4 from IGN, a 90% on Metacritic, and a 10 out of 10 on Steam. The little creature with a sword and a mask had beat out games like For Honor, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Xenoblade. It had earned its spot, not by being a part of a recognizable brand, but by being a good game. Why? Hollow Knight is different. It's a two-dimensional, hand-drawn game which competes with much more recognizable games like Call of Duty, a faltering cash cow that releases the same video game every year. The same elements in Call of Duty are seen almost everywhere in the industry. Three-dimensional, realistic art style depicting real life, brainless violence, and no room for the player to deduce anything for themselves. In Call of Duty, you see a dead civilian shot in the back. The character you're playing as then says something like, "I sure hate those Russians," or something along those lines. It's linear, moving from one act of sensory overload to the next. In Hollow Knight, the second you drop down the well in Dirtmouth, you are told nothing. You wander the caves, killing a few bugs until you find out what you're supposed to do. You do this by exploring and talking to people, with fantastically well-written dialogue. Sure, you will come across bodies, but you're left with the chilling moment rather than a terribly written one-liner telling you explicitly what happened to them. Why do I connect with Hollow Knight? I think Hollow Knight is one of the most amazing things I've experienced. Not just the initial playthrough, but the digging for answers, the community. I've never experienced anything like it before. Supposedly that's why it has an installment in the Australian Centre for Moving Change, an art museum. Now, I know video games being art is still a topic of debate, but if any of them are, it's this one. I mean, look at it. I think that's great, that this was the first video game to be recognized this way, of many to follow, hopefully. That means I was here to witness it. I was one of the first people to experience a new medium. That, I think, is amazing. The music. I think that the music of this game is phenomenal. Christopher Larkin has made an amazing soundtrack that captures the moments being experienced behind it. I seriously can't encapsulate the feeling of this music, so I strongly encourage you to listen to it. However, I can summarize how it works in the game. The music acts as a voice for the environments and the bosses that you encounter in them. For instance, in the resting grounds where warriors' ghosts go when they die, there is a single piano melody that plays over the game while you're there, and it speaks volumes of the area before you even start to explore it. It tells you that this is an area that demands solemn respect of its citizens. The City of Tears ambient soundtrack calls out in hope which echoes into its people's isolated pain. The music never slouches, and the highlights are amazing. The final fight against the Radiants to clear the kingdom of infection has this emanating glory and devious undertone that pushes you to complete the nearly impossible and beat her to save Hollowness. What a special game this is. The lore. Obviously, I can't summarize every hidden answer to Hollow Knight's many mysteries here. All I can say is that almost every single thing in Hollow Knight is connected to something else. If you see something, chances are you will find a reference to it made by another character. If you can't, someone else probably has. The Hollow Knight lore is so deep that the community has even tried to translate the hieroglyphic writing of Hollow Nest citizens, something the developers probably didn't foresee when creating it. Hollow Knight is filled with little nooks and crannies to be discovered, which works perfectly with its style of gameplay, which is exploration. The combat. The combat of Hollow Knight is fine-tuned to destroy you, but you keep getting up and trying again. The bosses have bright and vivid attacks with beautiful animation, all in time with the music swelling behind their every attempt to end your quest. It is extremely hard, but when you do complete even the slightest challenge, you are filled with determination to keep going. Hollow Knight enemies give no breaks in the action. You must use perfect timing and rhythm to swing your sword true into the gaps in their defenses. After hours upon hours of this, you find yourself against the Radiance, the perpetrator of this malignant infection of the kingdom. The music escalates as you climb higher above the clouds while dodging blasts of infection, and finally, after 60 hours, you save Hollow Nest. Future? Hollow Knight is an endearing classic that I will view fondly for many years. After several updates, Team Cherry stopped adding content to Hollow Knight. What happened? Why? It turns out Team Cherry have been working on something much bigger, the Hollow Knight sequel, Silksong. Team Cherry has confirmed that they are in the process of playtesting this game. Many have speculated that it will release next month. Even if it doesn't, I am extremely excited and believe this could be another grand slam of a game, but I suppose we can only wait and see.